Hey guys, project-zodiac here. I'm back with another video and I am so excited for this video. It's one that many of you have been asking me to make for many months now, and I'm sorry it took so long to get this video done. I've just been extremely busy with so many things, so this video took a little bit longer to get done. I said it was going to be out by the end of summer, but now it's coming out in the fall, so again, I do apologize for that. But with all that said, let's go straight into the video because there's so much to talk about, and again, I am so excited. So this is a new Xenoblade video essay, and it's a new Xenoblade X connects to the numbered Xenoblade games video topic. And this one, I am so excited because the new Xenoblade X Definitive Edition finally confirms that yes, it is connected, as I've been saying for years. So I am just so excited to talk about that. This video will be a little bit long, and you'll see why in a bit. But with that said, keep in mind that it will have spoilers for all of the Xenoblade games. So that's the numbered games, that's the DLCs, that's the Xenoblade X Definitive Edition, and then also on top of that, most importantly as well, Future Redeemed, which is the DLC for Xenoblade 3. So with that said, let's just go straight into this video. So when Xenoblade X released 10 years ago, it ended the game in 3 massive cliffhangers that we really have been waiting years for answers. And there were so many things that weren't actually explained properly in the game itself, even before the game ended. And they were left purposely ambiguous as to their nature. So on top of us waiting for a sequel to explain the cliffhangers, many fans also weren't sure if Xenoblade X even connected to the numbered Xenoblade games or not. And this is something that the fandom had argued about for so many years, and so many people have created so many theories, myself included, on this particular topic. Again, if you look at my channel and my Xenoblade playlist, you will see many videos talking about this. So also just a quick note, if you do go on the playlist, this is in chronological order of how you should be watching the videos. So please watch this in the order itself if you haven't seen the other videos. Now back to the script. So yes, I've made many videos claiming that Xenoblade X is connected to the series as a whole. And as I said many times, these are all just fun theories that I personally do believe due to various contexts within the games, which I do show in those videos. But I will accept it not being canon to the numbered Xenoblade games if Takahashi, the creator of the series, says so in one of the future sequels. And well, the closest that we ever got to an official verbal and visual confirmation was both in Xenoblade 3 and Xenoblade Future Redeemed. However, people still said that it was not connected at all, and that all that we got in Xenoblade 3 and Future Redeemed was just callbacks. And that we would really need a Xenoblade X2 or a new mainline game to straight out confirm that it is connected. Again, I made a video explaining how Xenoblade 3 and Future Redeemed kind of prove that it's connected. Well, anyway, so after 10 years, we sadly did not get a sequel to Xenoblade X. And while for me, we did get a numbered Xenoblade game confirming the connection, as I just explained, for some people though, they did not. So what do we get now? For everyone, other than Xenoblade 3 and Future Redeemed, for me, making that connection stated. So other than that, thankfully, we get a new chapter in a remastered release of Xenoblade X, which is called Xenoblade X Definitive Edition, which again released a few months ago. Now this new chapter is chapter 13, and it included a brand new story, and we all kind of also wondered just what would it show before it had released, and what will it reveal, and what will it say, and whose theories was right, which theories was right, would it resolve the cliffhangers, and does it most importantly, confirm its connection to the numbered games. And thankfully, it answers all of that, and yes, it does, and so many of my theories were right, because yes, it is connected. There were a few of my theories that were wrong, so basically I wanted to take a moment and make this essay to talk about how Xenoblade X is connected, and then also look back on all of my theories in the series up until now and see what else I got right and what I got wrong, as I feel like this particular time is a great time to do a essay or a video talking about all of these theories that I've done and seeing what I was right in and what I was wrong in. So this is something that I am extremely excited to talk about, and again, that's why this video is going to be a little bit longer, because I will be going through all of the theories that I could remember. It's a little over 50 theories. I have everything written down, and explain the theory, explain what I got right or what I got wrong, and how it's right and how it's wrong based on everything that we got, not just from Xenoblade X Chapter 13, but also the Future Redeemed DLC for Xenoblade 3, and also the Ionios Moments art book. So again, there's gonna be all of my theories, not just related to Xenoblade X, but for right now, we will be talking about what Xenoblade X actually does and what it actually says and shows that proves the connection, because again, it is proven now 100% that Xenoblade X is canon to the whole Xenoblade series as a whole. So let's go into that section first. The biggest thing, as I said, is that yes, Chapter 13 of Xenoblade X does indeed confirm that this game is canon to the numbered Xenoblade games. The way so also relates to many of my theories, but not all of them. Again, we'll talk about those later. So let's go straight into this. How did they make this amazing connection, and what does this connection actually say or show? So, Xenoblade X is connected via a multiverse format, similar to how Xenoblade 1 and 2 were connected to each other before Xenoblade 3. However, it is a lot more wild and a lot more creative and a lot more complicated than just a multiverse connection. And the reason for that is, you see, because it's not just a multiversal connection, it really is a metaphysical one as well, because it turns out in Xenoblade X, the Sumerians, an ancient race that we hear about in all of Xenoblade X before Chapter 13, it's revealed in Chapter 13 that they also experimented on the conduit, or another version of the conduit, just like Klaus did in the numbered games. And this experimentation that they did caused problems for them as well. One of the Sumerians, the one that did most of the experiments, basically got punished in a way by being trapped between the universes, again, like between the fabric of universes, and basically becoming void as we know him as. Now, in other words, in comparison that with Klaus, Klaus was punished as well, and he says so himself. He says that due to him messing with the nature of, with the universe, he was punished from above, and that his punishment was half of his essence or body is in the Xenoblade 1 universe, and it's the evil half, and half of it is in the Xenoblade 2 universe. What happened with Void, though, is that his punishment was much worse, because his whole body, his whole essence and everything was trapped in between the fabric of universes. So he's just there collecting all of the information from all the universes, and it's heavy, as Al says in Chapter 13. So basically, because of what Void does due to his actions, Mira came to be. In other words, Mira didn't exist before, it just became due to dimensional raptures that happened due to the conduit's experimentations. So Void, his experiments basically started causing tears within the universes, and Mira manifested due to these dimensional raptures, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Now, if Mira came to be only because of Void's actions or Void and Klaus's actions together, I'm not really sure because we don't really know the timeline of Klaus's events. I do have a theory about that a little bit later, which we'll talk about. But yeah, overall, Mira came to be due to these dimensional raptors. Also, because of this, Mira is basically a hub of various universes, kind of like how Aionios was, but it's not focused on the nature of violence and the endless now as Aionios was in Xenoblade 3. Instead, Mira is focused on the nature of life and survival and nurture. So basically, Mira pulls in elements from various universes as a kind of a safe harbor for them when they're close to collapse. So that is why the Nopon mention homes. That's why there are Telethias. That's why the Lifehold is present and working, and everyone's alive even though they should be dead, and so much other strange things that happens with Mira. And all of this is really just because that when Mira was formed, or rather when it appeared, it borrowed elements from the other universes, and it literally became a mirror of all of them, as its name implies. It's also why Aionios resembles Mira overall in its landscape as well, basically because of the collected unconsciousness, which again I have actually theorized in other videos, which we'll talk about again later on here. So the landscape of Mira and the consciousness of Mira echoes across the multiverse. So when the universes of Xenoblade 1 and 2 came to be, the people's collective unconsciousness formed Zed, who is a lower power, and they basically wanted to make a place for them to feel safe, and that's what kind of Zed worked out of. It worked out of fear, and he kind of wanted to rule that place as a safe place. Keyword safe in like a sarcastic way, but also not. And it basically kind of borrowed what Mira did, as I had theorized before as well. So Zed kind of took that idea of Mira from that collective unconsciousness. Again, that's just like my understanding of it from what we see and what's explained in chapter 13 of X, but that's not 100% confirmed, but it's what's really implied. But here's some of the differences. So Zed came from human will, and Mira came from basically a cosmic will. So that is why Zed is focused on the endless now, on violence, on sin, on fear, and on greed, while Mira is focused on nurture, love, unity, and salvation and survival. So it's very interesting to see this connection between them, which is a lot more complex than what I thought in the original essay and theory that I had for it. So everything that I just explained, we know this because this is what Al explains in chapter 13 of Xenoblade X. He explains all of that, so it really proves that particular theory, but it really shows that in chapter 13 of Xenoblade X that the universal threads are all connected, and that's what it explains in chapter 13, and that basically humans kept screwing things up, and so the universe tried to help them by allowing things such as Mira to exist, but taking action to fix all of the mistakes, which is what the ghosts are. So in other words, the ghosts are kind of like the antivirus of a body, you know, and the universe is everything. So like the universe, or the higher power in this case, or you know, heaven or God, or however you want to explain it, or in past Xeno series, the wave existence in a way, basically wanted to help humans, and it knew that humans kept screwing up, so it created Mira to pull in elements, or it allowed, not that it created, that it allowed Mira to form to save everyone. That's what Al explains that something allows Mira to form to let everyone survive, basically, and that the ghosts end up being kind of like there to try to fix what people are doing wrong. So the ghosts seem vicious, but that's because they're like antivirus. They go throughout the system trying to clean out the virus, trying to clean out the destruction or the damage. So that's what they are. They're the antibodies, the antiviruses of the universe. So I think that that's really cool. So we also learn that the reason why people are still alive in Xenoblade X is really because Mira is that kind of metaphysical planet, as I theorized before. So again, it's focused on survival and helping. So it keeps the people's essence alive no matter what, or rather not technically alive in the sense as they can die, as we see with Lao in chapter 13. He dies. But what we also see is that there really is an afterlife, and that people can be traveling between the dimensions and universes. The people who travel between the dimensions and universes can get a glimpse of that afterlife, or that in-between space. So even if Lao left the physical world, he is still alive. So what I mean, in other words, he's still alive in the spiritual world. So what I mean about Mira keeping people's essence alive is that Mira keeps people's essence alive in a physical way, preventing them from becoming spirits untethered to a body as much as it can. Though again, as we see with Lao, sometimes people can escape its binding and go through the imaginary number domain and then the spiritual world. So that imaginary number domain is that in-between place that I had just mentioned, and then we see Lao crossing over to the spiritual world as a spirit. So yes, he is alive as a spirit. He wasn't tethered to his body anymore. And what Mira does is that it keeps people's spirits tethered to their body so that they can survive that way in a physical sense. So that's what was basically explained in chapter 13. Now, I can go on and on with Mira and what the game revealed, but again, this is more about the connection to the numbered games. So in short, Mira came to be basically metaphysically, and taking in elements from all of the universes, including Xenoblades 1 and 2, due to issues with people abusing the conduit over time. And because of that, we know that because Al was trapped between universes, and also saw the universes of Xenoblade 1 and 2 and of all other universes. So while the White Whale was pulled by Mira for safety to the universe Mira was in, that's how they survived. So while that happened, Al was trapped. So the connections to the rest of the Xenoblade game the numbered games, is far bigger in scope than just following one specific timeline, as was one of my bigger theories. Although this metaphysical theory is one that I also had, but I was focusing more on it being a specific timeline. So yes, that is how it connects to Xenoblade 1 and 2. It's because Mira is very important, it's because of the higher power in the universe, and also because Al does see Shulk and Rex when he's trapped in between universes. So I personally love how the game connects everything, and I think it did an amazing job in clarifying so many things that we've been waiting 10 years for. So not only did they address so many of the cliffhangers, but they also confirmed so many of my theories as well, either fully or in parts. So I'm very excited about that particular fact. So now, with that explanation out of the way of how Xenoblade X does confirm that it connects to the numbered games, I now wanted to take this time and this next section to go over all of my theories that I remember, because I went through all the essays and found the ones that I wrote over time, and basically see what I got right and what I got wrong, or what I got right or wrong in parts. So please keep in mind that most of these do relate to Xenoblade X and its connections to the numbered games, but I also wanted to go over all other theories that had unrelated to these connections, basically since the Ionios Moments art book clarified a lot of things too, and I was thinking of making a separate video for that, but really I don't want to make another essay just for that. I already have a lot of things to do. This video already took way too long to get done anyway, and there's a couple other Xenoblade related videos that I want to do as well. So basically I thought, since I'm already going over all of the ones that connects to Xenoblade X, I might as well just go over all the series I had anyway and see what I got right and wrong or in parts. So let's go all of the ones that I can remember and find. But first, let's go over all of my theories about Xenoblade X's connections. So in my video titled Xenoblade 3 Connects to Xenoblade X, basically I said, and I'm going to be reading these very quickly just because there's so many of them, so I do apologize. So, the theories I had is musical and visual cues from Xenoblade 3 proves the connection between Xenoblade numbered games and Xenoblade X. This is correct. It is a shared universe, but a different dimension, so they do live similar to each other. Next theory, Xenoblade 3, the city for Xenoblade 3 is the ruins of NLA. This I got wrong, but ironically, New LA does get destroyed due to Mira basically being destroyed. So I was wrong on that, but hey, it basically was proven that NLA did get ruins later, even if it's not just ruins, it's gone completely. So next, Ionios could be a future Mira. I got this one wrong. Mira is not connected to Ionios in the sense of it being Ionios in the past or the future, but it could still be in terms of visual cues due to the collective unconscious across dimensions, as I said. So while it's confirmed that Mira isn't Ionios or Ionios isn't Mira, they could still be connected, as I theorized before about Zed seeing Mira through the collective unconscious and just wanting to do something like that. Now, next theory. Origin is very similar to the Lifehold and they are based on each other. This is correct. They share the same function and are possible simply due to the conduit, which we learn in chapter 13 of Xenoblade X. Elma, Klaus, and Numa are the reason for the similarities of Origin, as Klaus would have met Elma and helped develop the Lifehold and passed information on to Numa. This theory, though, is wrong. Elma is from a different dimension, so she did not go to Klaus's version of Earth. Next theory, Xenoblade X starts with Klaus's experiment. This is one I've talked about for years. Unfortunately, this one is wrong. The Earth in Xenoblade X's universe really was destroyed, as it was a different universe of Earth. And it's also a different Earth that would have existed during Mira's universe. Next series, Xenoblade X is the seeds to the next Xeno story arc. This one is speculatively correct. It's still possible based on how chapter 13 ends for Xenoblade X, so that could still lead to the next arc, but again, that's just more speculative. Next theory, Xenoblade X is connected to the numbered Xenoblade games. Correct, it is connected, though not the same exact universe, but it is connected. So those were the theories for that particular video. In my other video, let's go into the next one. Is Ionios from Xenoblade 3 Planet Mirror? That particular essay or that particular video that I had made, these are the theories that I stated in that video. So let's go with the first one. Mira is a planet in Xenoblade 2's universe. Wrong. This universe is a totally different one. Mira is a planet in another universe. Next theory, Mira is a planet between the two universes and the White Whale was traveling faster than the universal tear, making it arrive on Mira between the two universes. So for this one, it is half correct. It's not a planet in the void of the universes, but it is a planet in another universe near the two. However, I do say that it's the White Whale that kind of got stuck within the fabric of the universe there. kind of wasn't. Al, though, does get stuck between the two universes, and he does see the universes, and the white whale is pulled in by Mira to itself, and Mira is in a different universe than their Earth. So also, the white whale too, at the end of chapter 13, does leave Mira through a tear in the universe, and it goes to a different dimension. So again, this one is half correct in how this theory was, but it is kind of missing some parts. The next theory here that I have is that Mira is a metaphysical planet. This is correct. Mira was formed from the results of humans messing with the conduit as a safe place to keep people from their collapsing universes safe and alive, and taking elements from those various universes as well. Next theory, Mira is the reformed Earth after the two universes mixed from Xenoblade 1 and 2. This is wrong. Again, Mira is in a different universe. Next theory, Mira is a mix of those four past theories. That is correct. It is in another universe, and it is connected in a metaphysical way. Next theory, Mira could have suffered a cataclysm similar to what happened to make the universe of Xenoblade 1 and 2 and when they reformed, because it was a catalyst for when they split and when they formed. This is correct. The Sumerian Void also used a conduit to make an experiment that did cause a cataclysm, which the universe as a whole tried to fix, leading to another cataclysm at the end of Mira. So yes, Mira suffered a cataclysm similar to the universes of Xenoblade 1 and 2. Next theory, the Nopon could be part of the metaphysical nature of the world or the universe, and it could also be why they know about information from both universes of Xenoblade 1 and 2 while on Mira. And that they're basically being connected to it almost like a guardian angel. This one is still speculative, correct? Because there is evidence to support this as true, but not a lot. Again, they don't go too in depth with the Nopon in chapter 13, so still speculative, correct, given their mystery and what we see about them in Xenoblade 3 and Future Redeemed as well. So, next theory, Zed made Ionios like Mira due to its metaphysical nature of a higher power and him being a lower power. This is speculatively correct. Zed could have seen Mira as a connecting piece for humanity in the dimension that Xenoblade X is in, through the collected unconsciousness, which is where he came from, and made it resemble Mira as we talked about before. So again, this isn't straight out confirmed, but there's enough proof there that kind of makes sense, and it falls in line with the lore of the Xeno series as well. The next theory, the Sumerians became the humans from Klaus's time, and after a long time, Earth became Mira later on. The main idea here is correct. The Sumerians came in from the universe, and they eventually became the humans, but they did not return to that, and the humans grew in that universe. However, it's not the humans from Klaus's time, as Mira is set in a different universe from Klaus overall. Now let's go into the last video where it's specific about Xenoblade X connecting to the numbered games, which was my video titled Xenoblade Future Redeemed confirms Xenoblade X is connected. So that video essay, these are the theories from there. So the humans did not know about the aliens in Xenosaga due to the government saying that the aliens were just another group fighting for the conduit or the gnosis or interdimensional beings. This is half correct. In Xenosaga, which by extension Xenoblade's numbered games, because they're connected from what we understand now, we do have the gnosis, which the government and the universe knows about, and they do chase the conduit. And Xenoblade X chapter 13 explains that the ghosts are basically the gnosis chasing after the mistakes made with the conduit. However, Mira is confirmed to be in another universe, so really in the Xenoblade universe, which Xenosaga seems to be a part of now, they don't have aliens, or the numbered Xenoblade games universe, which Xenosaga is a part of. But in the Xenoblade X universe, they do. Yeah, both of them share the Gnosis and the Ghost, as they are kind of like a defense defense mechanism of the overall higher power and the full universe. I know that the Gnosis are a little bit different in terms of how they come to be and their functions, but they also do try to go and fix things regarding or chase after things regarding the conduit, while the Ghosts try to fix the mistakes in the universe. So a little similar, but they're a little bit different. So yeah, next theory. Elma's true form is the inspiration for Cosmos' appearance. This is wrong. Elma is not part of the numbered Xenoblade universe, as her universe in Xenoblade X is a different one, so there most likely was no Cosmos there. Next theory, people were told about the aliens on the White Whale later on in space, and the humans that left before would not have known about the aliens over time due to being in different parts of space. Basically being kept away from sections where aliens are, either by instructions from Elma or due to even a higher power or even Wilhelm. This is wrong, because there really is no aliens in the numbered Xenoblade universe, because Xenosaga is connected to it, only the Xenoblade X universe but Wilhelm might know of the other universes given his nature, so he might be involved in some way. But yeah, this theory overall though is wrong. Klaus's experiment affected his entire universe and sent non-human composition DNA to another universe. This is wrong. There really is no aliens in Klaus's universe as a whole. The next theory, humans did find aliens in Xenosaga, but do not call them aliens due to their DNA being that of humans as well. This is still speculative, neither right or wrong. Speculative, just speculative, because it's something we haven't really seen, but it could be a possibility due to there not being aliens in that universe. But again, that one we don't really have a lot of information to gather if that's the case or not. So that's why I can't say speculative, correct or wrong as such as I could for the Nopon situation. So for the next theory that we have, Origin's appearance looks like the Ghost technology due to it being made and using blueprints from the Ghost technology given to humans by Alma before Klaus's experiment. So this one is half correct. While it is confirmed that Xenoblade X is not in the same universe that Klaus is in, and that Alma wouldn't have gone in there to Earth, the two series basically are in the same canon. So it is wrong that he got the designs from Alma, but the nature of Origin's appearance resembling that of Ghost technology is mostly due to a multi-universal nature that the Ghosts have, given that they can travel between universes. So there is a connection, maybe through the collective unconsciousness, we're just not sure yet. But given the information we have, this is a bit half confirmed. So Klaus getting that information, that part is wrong, but it being connected, that part is correct. From what is explained and shown in Chapter 13 of Xenoblade X. The next theory, the Lifehold looks like the Conduit due to the Lifehold team working on the Conduit research team, with the Conduit research team and the Lifehold being powered by the Conduit. This is half correct. There was no Conduit research team working with the Lifehold team, again, as Xenoblade X does not take place in the universes of Xenoblade 1 and 2, but sharing the same canon gives points to this, as really the Sumerians did use the Conduit for research, and it did help give the power to many of their devices. So yeah, the Conduit was used for that. Alma knew of this and could have based the Lifehold shape on it, given the Sumerians are related to her people. So again, it is wrong here in one half about the two teams working together, but there is points for it being correct, but from Alma's side and why she designed the Lifehold to look like the Conduit, given her people's connections to the conduit. Again, that isn't fully confirmed, but there is a lot of evidence that supports that. Now, next theory, the Vector Industries is not named in Xenoblade X due to there being many companies in it. It does not mean that Vector Industries wasn't involved in the creation of the technology of the world of Xenoblade X. This is speculatively wrong. It could be possible that there is a Vector Industries in the universe of Xenoblade X, especially since Wilhelm, the creator of Vector Industries, is almost as old as the universe itself, and also involved with multiple aspects of the universe. But many of the companies we see in Xenoblade X, yes, do come from Earth, but most of them are built on Mira and from aliens. So while there isn't a lot of information to support that Vector Industries was an industry in Earth from Xenoblade X, it could be, given that we know how Wilhelm is overall, but yeah, it's mostly wrong given the fact that most of the companies that we do see do come from Mira itself, that was made on Mira, or from aliens bringing in their technology. The next theory, the 9th ship launches in July like the White Whale does, but there is no Wednesday, May 16th in 2054, which is when the White Whale leaves. The closest is in 2046. So the radio scene in Future Redeemed mentions the 9th ship in May 16th launching in July of that year. That is probably set during 2046, and the alien invasion that we see at the start of Xenoblade X happens in 2054, which also gives time for the save rights bill to fall and create the tension that we know about and see in this series with the rebels, and it also gives them time to build the ARC ships in time for the invasion based off of Elma's information. So this is speculatively wrong. Elma is not involved with that. Again, different universes, but it is all the same canon overall. So it could be that it does take a few years for the radio scene and for the bill to fall, which leads to the war with the rebels fighting over the conduit's power in Klaus's universe. So while Elma isn't involved here, that part is wrong, but the fact that, and the time, the years as well, that one, what I'm trying to say here is that yes, it is wrong, but it has possibilities in it for eventually being correct, to give time for the bill to fall and then there being conflicts over the save rights bill and people fighting for the conduit power in Klaus's universe. So the next theory, the ARC ships are the last classification of interstellar ships used to slowly get people off-world. This is correct. There were many types of ships in Xenoblade X's universe, though not many survived, though some were sent out before and might have survived. This is explained throughout the game and also within Chapter 13 of Xenoblade X. The next theory, the blue dot heading to Earth at the end of Future Redeemed is Cosmos. This is speculatively correct, because we still don't know for sure, but it most likely is, as it resembles the ending of Xenosaga, and now we know that it's definitely not the White Whale, because the planet that the White Whale goes to at the end of Chapter 13 has a giant ring around it, and the Earth we see in Future Redeemed does not have a giant ring on it. The next theory, the blue dot heading to Earth at the end of Future Redeemed is the right whale. We just mentioned that one. That one is wrong because we see very clearly the ring around the planet, which Future Redeemed's Earth, formed Earth does not have. The next theory, the blue dot is Elma heading to Earth thousands of years after the two universes reformed. This is half correct. The main idea here is correct. Again, the planet at the end of Future Redeemed does not have a ring on it like the new planet Elma goes to at the end of Chapter 13. So the ending of Chapter 13 does show Elma entering a new universe to a new planet where the ship would look like a shooting star heading to that planet. So Yes, so the main idea there is correct, but it's not thousands of years later. It's not, the planet after the two universes are formed, but it is Alma heading to a new planet looking like a shooting star. That main idea is correct. Now, with these big essays all gone over, these are the big ones that connect Xenoblade X to the mainline numbered games. I do still have a few things to say, and one of those things that I have to say is some brand new exclusive theories that I wrote for this essay, which don't have answers to yet, it's just my theories. But before that, let's go into the other thing that I want to talk about, which is just for fun, and also just to go over things that have already been confirmed and debunked. Let's go over some of the theories I made way before Xenoblade 3 actually released, and then theories that I made after the Ionios Moments art book released. Sorry, not theories that I made. Theories that I made before the Ionios Moments art book released. So that way we can answer these particular things. So for the video essay that I did, which is titled Analyzing the Trailer 1 from Xenoblade 3, let's go over those theories, and there's a lot here. So first theory, Mira is another planet from the merged planets of the universes of Xenoblade 1 and 2. Wrong, again, it's in a different universe, it didn't merge with them. Next theory, Mira is its own universe after Klaus did his experiment. This is half correct. This I had debunked due to, this was debunked because of the two universes from Xenoblade 1 and 2 mixing to be Xenoblade 3, but it turns out that, so that part is wrong. It didn't mix in with the universe of Xenoblade 3, but it is still in its own universe. So that part is still correct, but it's not correct that it came to be due to Klaus's experiment like the universe of 1 and 2. Next theory, Noah would need to carry people to, of Ionios to Mira. This is half correct. The main idea here I got right with Al taking people from Mira to another planet after, and Noah taking people to a new world after. But the way it was stated, such as Noah taking the people of Ionios to Mira, that one was wrong. But Noah still does take people to a new world, and Al takes people out of Mira to a new world as well. The next theory is the flaming clocks are related to Xenoblade X, given what we see happens in that game with Ether and the Hums. This is wrong. The flaming clocks have nothing to do with what we see in Xenoblade X or what's revealed in Chapter 13. Next theory, Xenoblade 3 is part 6 of the Perfect Works outline. This is still speculatively correct. We see that it lines up with what is shown from Perfect Works and also with what happens in Xenosaga 3. The next theory, Melia and Nia decide to live in harmony at first. This is correct. At first, before the two universes merge, they do work together to save their worlds during the merger. Next theory, the worlds merge, causing the natural function of the worlds to be different, such as blades only drivers. This is correct, due to the changes Klaus did and how Origin is made to function and how Zed handles Origin, plus the collective of people's wills during the merger and the Endless Now, many of the core elements of the universe from Xenoblade 1 and 2 and their people, the people's lives and how they function, a lot of it got modified. So that is correct. The next theory is people forget about Ether and the spiritual world, and they lose their way when someone begins to take control of the world. Manipulating things, causing Melia and Nia to fight alongside the people of the two worlds for many lifetimes. Yet there are still people who live in harmony. This theory was correct due to the fact that people's fears that came out of their collective wills and manipulated things to keep it all in the Endless Now, and there were people who were born in Ionios that did manage to still live in harmony, and even some people who weren't born there helped create the city. Next theory, Noah and Mio meet when they are little and were mad at that they basically took different sides to fight as they got older, but mutual friends helped them calm down. This is technically correct. Noah and Mio did meet when they were little at the end of the game, not at the beginning. And during the game, we also know that they did both meet each other many times across many different lifetimes, with Mio eventually being mad with the side that Noah picked in joining the Mobius and becoming N. And through their friends, they kind of helped them in their current life and also helped N and M calm down and fight Zed. So this one is technically correct, just in a very messy timeline way. The next theory is Van Damme is an older Zeke or Rex. This is wrong. Van Damme in Xenoblade 3 is a different character. However, in the base game for Xenoblade 3, we do see a older Zeke and older Rex. They're still young though. But then in Future Redeemed, we do get to see a slightly older version of Rex, which was pretty cool. Next theory is Noah goes on a journey to learn about Ether and life. This is somewhat correct. He goes on a journey to learn about life, but Ether is not really a focus on his journey at all. The next theory is Noah meets Shulk, Rex, Pyra, Mithra, Alphys, and the Wave Existence. This is wrong. Noah never met them, but his grandkids did, so that works. But yeah, I specifically say Noah here, so that's why this theory is wrong. The Wave Existence tells Noah to build an ark, is the new theory, and a new land shall be made for them. This is somewhat correct. The main idea here is correct, but it was Nia who told Noah this, and not necessarily to build an ark, but rather to save the ark that they were already on, in this case that being Origin, so that the worlds can merge and the universe can be made for them. So again, the main idea here is correct. The next theory is Xenoblade X is set after Klaus did his experiment and is in the same universe as Xenoblade 2, and the experiment made its way further than we thought it did, and it also affected the planet Mira. This is half wrong. Just about all of this is wrong, but some elements of this theory's idea is correct. Again, Xenoblade X can be set during or after Xenoblade 3's main story. And the reason why I say that, which I hinted at earlier, is because when L is in the fabric of the universe, he sees moments from the story of Xenoblade 1 and 2. So he sees a younger Shulk and a younger Rex. And then he also sees moments from the Xenoblade 3 main game with Mio and Noah exchanging flutes. The main idea here in this theory that is true is that the experiments with the conduit did affect planet Mira, though it's not the experiments done by Klaus but rather by Void from what we see. So it could be that it is taking place during that time or after Xenoblade 3, with Klaus's experiment maybe taking place around the same time that Void did his, but I don't think that makes too much sense given the fact that Void was thousands of years ago, given the timeline that we're told in chapter 13. But again, it could be happening at the same time. It really just depends. But again, that's just a theory, but it's not one that we can really speculate too much on as to when Klaus's experiment happens and Void's experiment happens. However, Xenoblade X's timeline, we can at least see that it is probably taking place during Xenoblade 3 or after Xenoblade 3. Again, that one is still really just a theory, a speculative theory overall, but still interesting and there's basis for it. The next theory here is that Mira gets merged with the other two universes or worlds, the ones from Xenoblade 1 and 2. This is wrong. Mira does not get merged with them. Instead, the universe of Mira basically gets destroyed. The next theory is Mira is part of the Wave Existence due to what we found out in Xenoblade X before chapter 13. This is somewhat correct. Mira is a metaphysical planet that is connected to the universe, or in other words, the Wave Existence, due to all the experiments done with the conduit. So it is mostly correct. The part where it's not is that it is like an actual part of it, rather than something that that the higher power or the universe allows to be formed to save people. So that's the little difference. The next theory is that Mira got sent to its own universe after the conduit experiments. This is somewhat correct. The main idea here is correct, and that is that Mira was in a different universe due to the conduit experiments, but by Void. It wasn't sent there, it formed there due to the experiments. Next theory is Mira and Ionios make contact and Noah takes his planet to Mira. That one is wrong. The two planets never make contact. Noah does not take them to Mira. Now, let's go over the video essay analyzing the themes of Xenoblade 3. This one also has a few theories. And this is in relation to what the Ionios Moments art book talks about, given that this was written before that art book came out. So, first theory, Origin and Ionios is basically like a supercomputer protecting the people or projecting the people into the world. This is correct. In the Xenoblade 3 art book, Takahashi does explain that it's all basically a simulation where the admin can change things and project people into the world. Next theory, the consoles represent various forms of people's greeds. This is correct. Takahashi explains in the art book that he designed them to reflect this and instead of the traditional villain types. The next theory is that the black fog comes from the two worlds merging, including people's fears through the collective unconsciousness and the law of attraction. This is correct. In the Ionios Moments art book for Xenoblade 3, Takahashi does explain that the black fog and the annihilation events are caused due to the worlds being linked and interacting with each other, and the closer their sections come, the more annihilation events happen, because again they're getting more and more scared. The next theory is that Zed is a lower power that came forth from people's collective fears. This is correct. The Xenoblade 3 art book does say that Zed is a collective will being that does come from the spirits inside of Origin. The next theory, which is one that I was always so excited for, the hooded kid Noah in chapter 6 of Xenoblade 3, in the ending of chapter 6, was a higher power or the higher power of the universe testing and guiding Noah. This is one that I love this theory so much, but unfortunately this theory is wrong. In Xenoblade 3, Takahashi did explain in the art book that this was a part of N's psyche that was in Noah that was helping him. So basically it was his own inner self reflecting as he was processing everything. It's like his own inner voice speaking with him. So yeah, unfortunately that theory was wrong. And the last theory here is that Lucky 7's origin, as told by Riku in Xenoblade 3, was true. This is wrong. In Xenoblade 3's art book, it is confirmed that Riku was just lying and that Lucky 7 contains Fiora inside of it, and that Ionios has some people who turned into objects as well. So those were all of the theories for this particular essay as well. Now, with all that said, let's go over some new theories that I have that are related to the overall series, with Xenoblade X Definitive Edition now being out. So again, these ones aren't ones that have answers to them. These are just some theories I have with the release of Chapter 13 for Xenoblade X, and having played it, like, these are just some new theories I came up with. So the first new theory I have is, given how L sees the events of all of the mainline Xenoblade games, including the events of Xenoblade 3, and Ionios looks like Mira, it seems like the events of Xenoblade X does take place during the events of Xenoblade 3 or after. Again, that's just based off of what we see. Given that time is a little bit complex, it could work itself, especially how Mira is strange in how it handles things. So this theory, I think, is one that could still work. So the beginning parts of Xenoblade X, up to Al being trapped in the universe, that could all be happening during Xenoblade 1 and 2, and then Mira being formed and everything could have led to, it could be during the times of Ionios in Xenoblade 3's universe. So that's one theory I have. Another theory I have, this one's a little bit longer, is that it is basically safe to say that a higher power did help Al escape the in-between space, as he did say he felt the consciousness of all beings and he couldn't handle it, and he wanted to go home to his loved ones. Because of this desire, he was actually given the information from all around him. So the Ares, the skull that he pilots, went through that data that he was sensing in that space and took him to his loved ones. But it didn't take him to his home, as his universe was destroyed, because Mira is in a different universe than Earth's universe at the start of Xenoblade X is. So that universe was destroyed. It took him home to the people he loved, so to them, meaning his loved ones, where they were, that was his home. So basically it's kind of like the higher power putting in that information there and allowing him to see it, allowing the Ares to find it and understand it and know how to lead the in-between. Also, this theory could have some solid ground to it, because Al does mention that he felt like he was being seen, and also when he was in that in-between space, he felt like he was being watched. And yes, Void is a force there as well, so that's something to keep in mind too. For what he probably meant by that, I have to rewatch that scene to be honest, to see if that's what he meant. But at the end of chapter 13, he does see a girl in the light as they were emerging to another universe from Mira, and he also gets very emotional. Now, if this girl is someone that he knew, maybe it could have been a relative in spirit form, or it could have been the essence of Mira in a human spirit form, or maybe it's a new design for Nephilim from Xenosaga, as the two do share some similarities. And now that Xenosaga is now canon to Xenoblade X, thanks to Future Redeemed, we don't really know. But what Al does mention is that he, at the end of chapter 13, is that he does not think that the space between the universe was a prison, as he originally thought. He now thinks that it's a pathway straight to heaven and that heaven exists. Also, we see Lao's spirit enter the light too when Al was entering the universe from Mira. So all of the information that we have here, and also from previous games, such as Klaus saying a very similar thing about that he's facing retribution from on high for his actions, and the function of the ghosts and all of that, it does basically show and really imply heavenly that there is a spiritual world, a biblical world, or I wouldn't say necessarily biblical, but I'm using the terminology biblical to basically explain, yes, that there is a higher power, a universal God there that is helping them. There is, and like heaven and the spiritual world. So there is definitely a lot of evidence here, not just with what Al says, but across all the Xenoblade games and even Xenosaga, to prove that. But I think that Xenoblade X chapter 13 added a lot more information with that, especially with Al saying that he thinks it was a pathway, where he was a pathway straight to heaven, and how Lao's spirit also entered the light. So yeah, I think that basically Al got help from the spiritual world, or the higher power, when he was in that in-between place. So that's one theory. And also he kind of thanked her as well, so it's really interesting. So yeah, let's go into the next theory. So instead of Klaus knowing about the life hold, which is the theory I had before, which again is debunked, another theory for building origin is that maybe a higher power could have been feeding the two universes the life hold information through the collective consciousness when they needed to find a way to survive the merger of the universe. Again, this particular theory comes in from what happened with Al, so it's safe to say that that is something that could have happened, which is pretty cool. So another theory that I have is, while my theory of Noah talking to a higher power during the theater scene at the end of chapter 6 in Xenoblade 3 seems to have been debunked, As the Ionos Momo's art book, Hatakahashi explained that the younger Noah we see there was just his inner self. However, again, there are elements of a higher power being present. So yeah, I think, so this is one I actually went through. I forgot that I wrote about it, so I'm not going to read through all of it, but I will add to this. I think that humanity just keeps growing up with the universe, and the ghosts are kind of like angels from heaven, or as I said earlier, the antibodies of the universe, reacting to the bad handling of the nature or a virus, in a way. While the higher power or all of heaven keeps helping humans learning and surviving with love and allowing things like mirror to exist, or the information of origin to be passed down in a surprising way. So again, there's a lot of information here that basically does show that there is a higher power or heaven in the overall universe of the Xenoblade series. Now, the next theory here is no other theories. So right now we are at the end of the video. So there was a lot we went through here. I'm sorry that the editing as well for this video wasn't the biggest. There was just so much to go over, and I just wanted to get this video out because there's still so much for me to do outside of making these videos. But I do hope that you enjoyed it, and overall I am amazed and so happy with how most of my theories was very close or straight out confirmed or confirmed in parts in one way or another. Now, yes, while I did get a few things totally wrong, that's okay, because this is a series that is deep in lore, and it's also very complex lore too. So it's fun to analyze and look at everything given how detailed and in-depth the series is, even if it doesn't seem so from a quick glance when you just quickly look at it. But anyway, I'm just so happy that Xenoblade X is confirmed to be canon. I'm so happy that, you know, a lot of my theories were right and a lot of things was explained. I just really loved chapter 13 a lot. I know a lot of people hated chapter 13, but I thought it was so good, almost perfect. I loved it. So yeah, I'm just happy that it confirmed too that everything is canon basically here. Also, we don't really know what other bigger connections chapter 13 set up and explained for future games in this series overall, but we can assume that there's definitely going to be some bigger implications that chapter 3 set up for later on, and I'm so excited for it all. So basically, when the next Xenoblade game comes out, there's going to be a whole bunch of other theories other than these new ones that I just said, basically trying to piece together more information, like, oh, maybe this thing's related to the ghosts, or oh, maybe this is again the higher power helping here, or like, oh, maybe this leads to the two planets. Maybe that planet is in the same universe as the new Earth. Like, a whole bunch of theories will be set up for sure. So I'm so excited with what chapter 13 confirms, states, shows, and sets up. So guys, I hope this video was worth the wait. It's not a full-on review of chapter 13. I know some of you did want that, but I thought that this was a little bit more important than just doing a quick review on that. I do want to do a video review on Xenoblade X as a whole anyway later on, including information from, or my thoughts on chapter 13. But for those of you that just wants to know very quickly what I think of chapter 13, again, I thought it was amazing. I really liked what it set up, what it explained and everything. And I'm just so happy with the confirmation. So overall, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of all of these theories. How do you feel now that Xenoblade X is confirmed to be canon? And let me know what you want to see next for the Xenoblade series. With all that said, rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Have a good day, everyone.